Welcome to Trainer to Trainer. This is Sherwood A.
And I'm Lionell Pate.
And we did our first series of the squat. I figured we'd probably do a couple of series of the squat.
Sure.
Because that's just such a popular movement and so much that can be done with the squat. And we talked about some basic movements that a person could perform just at home, using a broomstick, using a chair. We're going to step it up a little bit today. We're going to have some apparatuses that have a little weight to them. And you can make the adjustment, of course, in your workouts,
right,
because we can take it to the gym now. We're going to use a kettlebell and we're going to use an Olympic bar. Right now, we're not going to have a lot of weight, but this may be even still very challenging for what we're going to do.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes, yes. So one of the basic things that I want to reiterate when we say we're performing a squat that I find that a lot of people don't perform correctly is making sure that it's a natural movement.
Right.
Making sure, because sometimes people use machines like the Smith machines or a squat machine or a press machine. I don't per se suggest those things, depending on your goal, but they are not really totally natural. So with the squat and naturally building the body up to be strong, to use that core when squatting, because that's why I don't really suggest the machines, because you don't really use the core anymore. You're usually powering through using a whole lot of other muscles that probably you wouldn't use, if you perform a squatting motion. That's why a lot of people don't know. That's why sometimes they become slower and don't jump any higher, because they're not using the muscles that are responsible for propelling off the floor or propelling off the ground. Everything is pushing them down and they just powering up to move through it. To develop muscles may have a benefit there,
right,
but in actuality, we all about function, breathing, form, and that functionality. Any issues that you find that people have with squats?
I think more so what you just touched on. They're limiting on what muscles that they're using.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really focusing on using that core as they should.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really been a big issue with my clients.
Yeah. And I think, I'm not sure if we actually touched on, but making sure that when we perform that squat, heels down. Heels down in basic squatting motion. But that's not saying that you shouldn't practice squats with heels up, because that's actual natural to be able to get down and have that heel up. I sometimes do it in a yoga class, and even just the natural movements. You might not necessarily have a lot of weight to be used when performing this particular squat, but for the most part, for most people, because we sit so much, and for women because their heels are always elevated in heels.
And that position, that leg position, that lower body, that's the plantar flexion, right?
Right. Yeah, that plantar flexion. We definitely want to start to keep people to use the dorsiflexion, bringing that toe up, and being able to use power and generate power from the back side of the body first. So that's why I want to make sure the heels are down for the most part when performing more squats. But there are some variations you definitely can implement. So let's do a couple of basic squats, and since I like to progress from the chair to the overhead using the broomstick, we're going to use the wall. We're going to use the wall today, and I'm going to change it up a little bit, because a lot of times I see a lot of people kind of do a wall sit, and just slide down the wall. So can you get on the wall for me?
Sure.
All right, and just lay all the way back, and just squat down. Walk your feet out, squat down. Yeah, and just sit on the wall. Yep, back. All right. So a lot of people do this. I walk up just a little bit so they heel flat. Right, and they do a squat. They may hold or pause for whatever reason, and then stand on up with that. All right. So a lot of people sometimes do that wall sit, and sometimes they just use a ball and do a ball squat.
Right.
I'm not a big proponent of using that, because once again, I want you to be able to use the body in a natural way, as natural as possible. So what we're going to do, we're going to do a little measurement away from the wall. We're going to do have your foot against the heel, your heel against the wall, and put the other foot in front. And we want to then step out so our feet are parallel, a little bit shoulder width. And now I want you to find the wall as you sit. Good, and stand up out of that. Good. So the only thing that's going to touch the wall is your butt.
Okay.
So try it again. and back up. Good. So make sure you still have that slant motion, because I want you to simulate if you were actually squatting with a bar across your shoulders. And I want to have that slant.
Pelvic motion.
Yeah, and back up. So don't sit back. So as soon as you touch the wall, here and back up. Right there. All right. So we're going to use kettlebell.
Okay.
We're going to hold it right here. Load that down. And you're going to see how you're going to be able to provide a better counterbalance.
Now, is there a certain way? Should I be out here with the kettlebell, or should I always keep it kind of close?
I want you to learn how to keep as close as possible, and also try to make sure you rev the shoulder back and chest up.
Okay.
You know, shoulders down. Right.
Okay.
And now, let's see.
All right. And I feel the difference as opposed to holding it out here.
And just barely, like I say, barely touching the wall, just to help with the form, and then back up. Right. Barely touching the wall. It gives you a nice, good little platform.
Sure.
Make sure you sit back on the heels. And right, that was good. You see how, so right as soon as you touch, now in this position, the more and more you practice that, the easier and easier it becomes. So that's when you can start to increase the weight, you know. So try it a couple more times. Sit, yep, and up. Right, nice smooth motion, and up. Good, good, good. And that's with the kettlebell. I like using the kettlebell because it gives a different holding mechanism, you know, with those elbows down and holding up to the body.
Right.
A little bit different from using Olympic style, Olympic size bar. So underhand, let's do underhand, and just gonna hold it to your chin. Good. Do we still got about the same measurements? Okay. All right. All right. Let's try that. Good. Good. You can see the difference holding underhand compared to holding here. You know, different muscle groups. So I like using that variation. Try now doing overhand. See what that feels like. Good. Chest up. Good. You see? So it's kind of hard, you know.
That's a little different from the other hand.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now, last one. Let's try this on your back. Let's just get this on the back a little bit. And let's see what it looks like. Good. Good. So you can see how this becomes way more functional than using a machine, because now we're only using something to brace our momentum, but yet it still becomes a measurement to make sure, one, we get low enough, and two, to give us a little bit of aid to get down there. As you can see, you get your cut, you get your pump.
It's integrated.
Yes.
Big time.
Yes,
Definitely.
yes. All right, let's get going up over there. All right, so those are the basic squats that can be performed, like I say, with the Olympic size bar. And of course, the more weight you utilize, then the more difficult it becomes.
Sure.
So I want to share one more type of squatting, because I like to use right and left. You know, make a right side more dominant, and then work on making the left side more dominant. So we're going to perform a staggered squat. So we're going to use the kettlebell. And with this staggered squat, let me see, right here, and you can, let's face the camera. Sure. And we're going to keep our feet shoulder width apart, but you're going to have one foot behind you, just a little bit, so you're just like this in that ready, that athletic stance position. Yes, so that back heel is off the ground. So stand up taller, so that back heel is off the ground. Stand up tall. Good. So all the weight is going to be on primarily used or focused on that left side. Yep, on the left side. Okay. So let's squat. And then up. Good. Yes. Make sure all the weight is on that one side. So we want to work one side of the body as we perform this exercise. I like how your knee is coming out. Your knee is coming out, not a 12 o'clock, but there's more so a 2 o'clock type of thing. Right. That toe, and it becomes natural. You're opening up the hips, and you're sitting on the heels. Right. And with anything, you can always get ballistic with it. So let's say you squat, and let's say you stand up with power. Right, and you can always follow through on your toes with power. Right, so it's follow through with toes on your other foot, or on your left foot. So you squat and stand up with power through the toes. Right, and come back down. So you're going to explode through those, right, and then come back down, sitting on the heels. and then push heel, yes, and throw. So now we can get some functionality going on with that.
Big time.
So the staggered squat, the basic squat off the wall, and our last thing, you know, because like we definitely take it to the next level. Let's do that little ballistic, and we can do a little ballistic just with your weight.
Okay.
I mean, just with your own body weight.
Body weight.
Yeah. And the way I like to teach this ballistic movement is when you jump, try to make sure you dorsiflex the toes and come down the ball of your feet to the heel. Okay. All right? Come the ball of feet to the heel when you jump. So let's try that. Let's try just a squat, a regular squat, and power up using hands and power up. Yeah, so now let's, okay, stand up. So try that one more time, but like I said, try to really dorsiflex the toes and land on the back side of the heel. Because you notice when children are jumping in the house, sometimes, you know, you can hear them because they make that.
Right.
And I want that, I want that little shocking to take place because that stimulates some bone mineral density and that growth. So I want to see you try that. Ballistic squat, use the hands to rev up. And here, and stand up. You don't have to pause out of it. You can, depending on what we're trying to accomplish. You can jump in and jump out and fall into the squat, pause, then stand. Or you can be repetitive with it. Or you can jump up and fall into the squat and stand up right away. So try that. Jump up, fall into the squat, and just stand up right away. There you go. Good. You feel that?
I feel that.
Because that gives you good momentum. Now let's try repetitive. 3 of them if you can. So
just constantly,
yeah. Good, good. And all we want to do is actually have a little bit more arm swing when you do that. You know, and I think you already did. We perform the squat at the bottom. Pause and then stand. Try that one more time. I think you've inadvertently done that.
Squat at the bottom.
And jump up, pause, right. And let that arm float a little bit to the side because you want the shoulders and chest to open up just a little bit more. So, and like I say, keep the elbows bent. Don't think extension. Think here with the elbows. Think using those shoulders. Yeah. Okay. But the pause at the bottom.
Pause at the bottom, right.
Yeah, so that's good. That's good. As you can see, there's a lot of variations can be utilized.
Quite a few.
And definitely, either one of the ballistic exercises, once you feel comfortable, you can always weight it up, you know, and perform those particular movements. But the whole objective with the squat, I want to encourage just making sure we use some basic muscle groups. You know, we want to make sure those hamstrings and the glutes are turned on, and that they are powered by the core. That's really one of the main focuses that I think that people should concentrate on. You know? And as far as that form, of course, the breathing. So we're still doing our acronym function, breathing, form. So our function for the squat, it's a basic movement. You use it all the time, every day, everyone. Making sure you inhale, and when you get ready to explode or make that movement take place, you exhaling. And then you want to make sure that that form is that you know precisely whether or not you're going to keep heels down or if you're going to practice some squatting with the heels up. But for the most part, we want that form to stimulate hamstring, calf, glutes, core.
Right.
You know, and we can always utilize keeping that chest up.
Okay.
Anything you'd like to add about the squat series?
I think just to tie into my opening statements, just make sure that core is activated. Utilize that on a regular basis.
All right, and we will come back at you. We're probably going to implement some pretty cool squat routines. I think
absolutely.
We look forward to the one-hitter quitter. I think we say we're going to call it. You know, exercises that just incorporates one particular movement. And you just, you do as many as you can or just a few as you can, but it has some sort of difficulty level to it, as you implement it. So thanks for tuning in to Train to Train. I'm your trainer, Sherwood A.
And I'm your trainer, Lionell Pate.
And we'll talk to you later.